All right, we are live now. Good evening, everyone. Good evening to all of you that are joining us. We are going to wait a little time until more of you join in and get notified that the workshop has begun. Please do share this video with as many people as you'd like to share it with. Share it on your Facebook wall. Share it in your WhatsApp groups. Okay, I can see a couple of people joining, and I can see Rohan's message as well. Hi, Rohan, and hello to all our viewers. Hi, Deepak. Just want to confirm whether we are audible and visible to all of you. I hopefully we are because I can see your highs coming in. But hi, Rajiv ji. Do let us know if there's any sort of issue that you notice in the audio or video before we start. All right, that's great. Thank you. I'm just going to quickly also share this video to our Facebook group so that folks in the group can also tune in along with us while we're live. All right. I can see quite a few people now. So, thank you everyone for joining. My name is Nupur. I've been living with type 1 diabetes for the past 28 years. मेरा नाम नुपुर है और पिछले 28 साल से मुझे टाइप 1 डायबिटीज़ है। आज का जो सेशन है इसका टॉपिक है लूजिंग अ चाइल्ड टू अनडायग्नोज टाइप 1 डायबिटीज़। और मेरे साथ आज रंजीत हैं जिनको मैं बस एक ही मिनट में रिक्वेस्ट करूंगी कि अपना इंट्रोडक्शन दें। Ranjit is the father of Rushil, and Rushil basically passed away due to undiagnosed type 1 diabetes. So, actually, 3 years ago, in the same month, in the month of August, in 2020, is when this happened. And at the outset, I am really grateful to Ranjit and his family for for reaching out and for wanting to create awareness in society about this problem, about people not knowing what type 1 diabetes is. And Ranjit, over to you.
Yeah. Mm. Thank you for this session. And first of all, what your Blue Circle group and you are doing is really great because there is not much awareness in India about type 1. So I'm really thankful to all the activities what you are doing. And okay, so I belong to Maharashtra. So I was for 9 years in Mumbai, and then I moved to Pune, where this type 1 happened with Rushil. So I'm a engineer by background, and currently I'm staying in Bangalore. So this unfortunate event occurred on 18th August 2020. So Rushil was my only child, and after suffering from such loss and everything that we went through, I'm joining in today so that I can do my part on creating awareness. This is just a brief about me.
Thank We cannot even imagine, what Arpita and you have gone through in the last 3 years, and it really breaks my heart. And I can tell you that, having shared this across all of our platforms on WhatsApp, on Facebook, and other places, all of our community members are equally, shocked and upset by what has happened. So, we really appreciate you talking to us about this. And प्लीज़ अगर कमेंट्स में आपके कुछ सवाल हो या कमेंट कुछ आपको शेयर करना हो ऑडियंस को, प्लीज़ शेयर इट इन द कमेंट बॉक्स एंड वील कीप स्विचिंग बिटवीन इंग्लिश एंड हिंदी ताकि ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा लोग ये वीडियो देख पाएँ, समझ पाएँ, शेयर कर पाएँ और बेसिकली ये अंडरस्टैंड कर पाएँ कि अगर टाइप 1 डायबिटीज़ को राइट टाइम पे डायग्नोज किया जाए तो पर्सन की लाइफ बच सकती है. So, Ranjit, tell us about Rushil as a child. Like what were his likes, dislikes, any hobbies. I mean, I do remember he loved dinosaurs and science, and you know, sounds like a really cool combination. So, tell us
Yeah.
more about it.
Uh, So yeah, I mean, like any other parent, I mean, I was very proud of what he used to do every day, whether it's science, some experiments, or whether it's different animated characters, and even he had good taste for music. I mean, you cannot imagine a 8-year-old liking Freddie Mercury's Bohemian Rhapsody or "We Will Rock You." Those were his favorite songs, and he also liked Linkin Park as well. So he was good in studies as well. I mean, we never had to ask him to push for some study or do this, do that. He used to manage on his own, and uh, he liked monster trucks. Those I mean, which we are not having in India, the monster trucks which are normally there in US or some other countries. And he dreamed of having his own monster truck someday, probably in future, and he was very concerned about environment and pollution and so many things. And yes, this is just a brief about him.
Yes, yes. Sorry, what interrupted you. I'm sorry, but like, what is master trucks is something I'm not familiar with. So,
So those trucks with like the bigger wheels, and they try to jump it over small vehicles and all. So mostly this is common in US and other Western countries.
got it.
Yeah.
Got it. And I was really, really surprised, when you told me that he really loved Freddie Mercury and, Boy George and all of the amazing classic bands that I have really enjoyed and loved and still love listening to. Really incredible to know the lovely child that Rushil was. So I know that we have quite a lot of people who have joined us, and it is definitely an sort of a sensitive topic. So I request all of you, when you're commenting as well, do comment, do tell us what you think. Don't just be stoic, and don't just. I understand this is something very shocking and very sad, but do share your support and your messages, for Ranjit as well, so that he can see it on the screen in the comment box when you paste it in there. So Ranjit, like, what was the build up of the events that occurred? Like, how did the symptoms play out, and were all the typical symptoms of type 1 diabetes present? I'm also going to ask you this in Hindi once more, just making sure that everyone is understanding. तो मैं रंजीत से ये पूछ रही हूँ कि क्या सिम्टम्स थे और क्या लक्षण थे जो रूशल में मतलब नोटिस किए गए, या मतलब टाइप 1 डायबिटीज़ के सिम्पटम्स अभी हमें पता है, जबकि हमें टाइप 1 डायबिटीज़ ऑलरेडी हो चुका है, जिनको टाइप 1 है, या टाइप 2 है, या जो लोग हमारे ग्रुप पे हैं, लेकिन जिन्हें पता नहीं होता है, तो क्या-क्या सिम्पटम्स आए थे, और मतलब आप एज़ अ फैमिली आप लोगों ने क्या सोचा और क्या किया?
Yeah, that's really a good question to start with, to throw some light upon the series of events. So, probably after that incident, I tried to dig out more about type 1 and what might have led to its occurrence in Rushil. So, probably I'll start by saying Rushil's association with sugar related things started when he was inside his mother's womb, because my wife, when she was carrying him, she had this what you call this gestational diabetes.
Yeah.
So she had to take insulin to bring down the sugar, and then Rushil was related. Though I know it's not nowhere related to type 1, but just part of my digging activities that I tried to explore and tried to uh, correlate the threads and different things, how that can be the case with Rushil. So yeah, so he was probably 10th. It was He's okay. One peculiar thing, like his date of birth is 10th November 2012.
Yeah.
So that number is 10, 11, 12. And when he passed away on 18th August 2020. So even his age was, there was combination of 7 years, 9 months, and 8 days. So such strange things were always there when it comes to different things that were taking place with Rushi. So the build-up of events, I'm quite aware of the symptoms now because I try to, as I said earlier, deep down with what type 1 is and how it affects. So with Rushil, there was nothing till probably the lockdown scenario. But one thing I would specifically like to mention is like in August 2019, he suddenly got his viral fever around 103 degree Fahrenheit. And it was even the same month, August 2019. Okay, so my wife took him to the pediatrician and he was back to normal uh, within 2 or 3 days. So probably that I think that that might be one of the triggers that
Yeah.
probably induce the type 1 in his body. So okay, then this is something probably 1 year back to that actual fateful day. So we had lockdown, everything was closed, and I also had resigned from my job in Pune. And we were about to move to Mumbai again because initially 9 years, for 9 years, we were in Mumbai only. So we had searched for his school and everything, and he was very happy about because he loved Mumbai compared to Pune because it was having seashore. Okay, so that's another thing that he liked. So, but somehow my joining got delayed because of some uh, different issues, and I was able to spend around like a time of 3 months, 4 months with him, and he was having his online school. So nothing till end of July. He was perfectly normal, not drinking too much of water. There was neither the frequency of urination or there were no incidents of bedwetting. But
Yeah.
suddenly, in the probably last week of July of 2020, he started drinking. He started asking for water, and also his frequency of urination increased. And we also saw uh, probably 4 or 5 incidents of bedwetting. But it was this rainy season in India around that time. So probably we thought it is because of the rainy season that he's visiting the loo more than often. And but yeah, having more water, and especially during rainy season in Pune, was something strange for us. So that was the thing, and he appeared bit thinner than usual, and he also grew taller than what his height was earlier. But we thought he's growing, though he was only in third standard. But somehow,
Yeah.
okay, we are not from medical background, so we can in no way that correlate those symptoms to any medical condition. So those were the build-up of events and the symptoms, the particular four T's. But the one of the T's which is tired. So since everyone was locked inside and not much of outdoor activity was there, so probably we could not find that one of the four T's which is tired.
Yeah.
So that thirsty, then this frequency of urination. So those we could find. So so this was the particular in the last week of July and beginning of August. So we could see those symptoms.
Yes. So you mean that the symptoms were not very drastic, like the weight loss you mentioned was there, but it was not something
Yes.
very
Yeah.
alarming, like because
Yeah.
he's
I
growing
mean,
taller. Yeah.
yeah, correct. So usually he weighed around uh, 30 kilograms. So when we, I mean, even probably the restrictions were there, but somehow we were allowed to. I mean, we used to stay on a seventh floor, but since he was bored, so probably for 5 or 10 minutes. I used to take him to the garden. I did it twice only.
Yeah.
So his friends and their parents, they were also shocked to see why is appearing thinner than usual, because it was clear evidence that something is wrong. But and we also used to ask him, "Are you all right? Do you have some kind of pain or something?" But he was like, "I'm perfectly all right. I'm enjoying my school." He was having enough of screen time because no one was allowed to go outside. So he was really enjoying all the activities. So that symptoms probably were something that we missed, and probably that could have had it been like some medical background or some family. Okay, we don't have type 1 in our family, so this was the first case. So
Yeah.
we were nowhere connected to type 1 or any of the symptoms. I mean, when it comes to knowledge about type 1.
Right. Right, absolutely true. And since I've been speaking to you for the last few days or weeks, it really, I mean, I was diagnosed. I was telling you last night, I was diagnosed at the same age as Rushil. I was 8 years old as well, and really, it's so sad that our diagnosis is left to chance. If I was not diagnosed correctly, we don't know the outcome, and we don't have the right sort of support that we need. So I'm just keeping an eye on the comments as well. I see Rohan says thanks Ranjit for sharing, and Sonali mentions that Ranjit, hats off to you for just being here. Absolutely. I mean, I just cannot imagine, have no idea what you're going through. We've all seen loss in our lives at some level, on some in some relationships, whether it's grandparents or friends or whatever. But we have no idea what you're going through, and we are really indebted to you for sharing today here with our community. Neeraj says that more power to you, sir, for coming ahead and talking about it. Rajiv ji says that in my case, Stephen D was triggered by typhoid and chloromycetin. I am not fully sure what that is, but I will look it up. Um, Yes, and I did want to ask you, Ranjit, that for a lot of people, they say that some sort of viral triggers it, or, of course, everything is speculation, and we've all sort of done that, So, when you mentioned that in August 2019, he had like one whole year prior to the DKAs when he had a viral fever, right?
Yeah. So there are certain, I mean, there are a few other milestones also along the line. So I just like to mention that. So also in the end of 2019 and the beginning of 2020, Rushil and his mother, they traveled to Tokyo in Japan, where uh, this his maternal uncle was there. So they visited, and he was there for around 20 days. Because see, why I'm trying to say it here, like it's cold. Probably sometimes cold weather is also the trigger. So there are so many triggers for type 1,
Yeah.
and I'm just trying to bring on the table all the things or the events or the activities that Rushil did, and maybe one of these triggered or induced that type 1. So he was there in probably for 20 days, and temperature is probably around 6 degrees Celsius or 5. I don't know the exact number, but it was much colder than what we have in Pune or yeah, the normal cities in the central India. So he was there, and then he came back. So he, even after returning back from Japan, nothing as such, and he was okay. Also, we had to send him to daycare for when my wife resumed her work. So we had to send him for probably around 2 hours. He was in the daycare. So when I was, as I said earlier, digging through different triggers, so there is some uterovirus. Probably I don't know whether it is correct or not. So that gets transmit. The transmission takes place uh, if the loos are not, the hygiene is not maintained probably in schools or daycares. So I'm not saying that it can be the source with when the things went wrong with Rushil, but it can be one of the so many. So this was also the different uh, the activities that took place along the way. So I just wanted to mention about those. And the actual, shall I talk about the actual that fateful night and how things went for like for those 2 days and
Sure.
his past.
Yes, yes, definitely. But there's one thing I want to, like, sort of remind our audience as well, that when this occurred, it was August of 2020. And if you all remember, that was the time of COVID. In March, I think, 24th March, I think, is when the Prime Minister announced the lockdown. So we were right in the middle of, a very intense and a very new kind of situation which we had never faced before. So, what I want to begin by asking you, Ranjit, is what role did the lockdown play in you getting that sort of medical support for Rushil?
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, yeah, lockdown and the pandemic itself was really bad for everyone. Okay, the purpose was to contain the virus. I mean, I'm not saying that it was something bad, but when it came to Rushil's diagnosis and we seeking medical attention, so probably it was around 16th August when we saw all those symptoms and like end of July and probably 2 weeks of August, yeah, first 2 weeks of August. So we were trying to see whether this is something serious, and I tried to Google those symptoms, and it did show that it can be type 1. But
Yeah,
I mean, I was like, it cannot happen to my child. Why
correct.
should my child get the type 1? I mean, I mean, you probably can talk here like it can happen to anyone
Yeah,
I mean, with no family history. I mean, it can happen to any child. It's not like something that I'm trying to scare someone, but or the parents, but it pays to stay alert and timely diagnosis will definitely try to save you the grief later, which is really hard for any parent. Would you like
yeah.
to say something here?
Yes, I'm just going to quickly, read out a couple of the comments that are coming in. Anshita says it takes so much strength to come forward and speak about losing a child, and so much respect to you, Ranjit ji. Preeti says, thanks, Ranjit, for sharing. More strength to you. Aishwarya says, it is unfortunate that you lost your son, and it takes a lot of courage to talk about it. Maybe your life story will help people who think that diabetes only happens in old people. Exactly what you spoke about just now. And awareness is a must. Thank you for sharing. That was from Aishwarya. Sonali says that my daughter Rama at 8 had similar symptoms, and even though my husband is a doctor, we saw all the symptoms separately. So, whether it's a medico or a non medico background, we fail to get the symptoms.
Right.
Asim says, what about long-term insulin for T1? I heard about it. Asim, we will park that question for now since it doesn't seem as related to what we are talking about right now. But we'll come back to you. And Rohan says, even after diagnosis, it took me many months to accept that I can have diabetes. And I know, Rohan, you were also diagnosed when you were pretty young. You were about, I think, 18 or 19, if I remember correctly. So definitely, at any age, it's a big shock, and coming to terms. Even imagining that you can have diabetes, like Ranjit was saying, that I googled it, I saw the symptoms, but how can my child have it? So that is definitely something that we are familiar with. We recognize that feeling. Um, just a
Yeah,
reminder for, yes,
yeah. I mean, I would just like to add because the only reason I could probably comfort myself that my child would not get type 1 because we don't have people around us telling the stories
yeah,
or probably creating awareness or telling everyone through WhatsApp like this can happen. So I was not at the probably receiving the knowledge from somebody. So that's why I'm like many other parents, and
yeah,
it's the lack of awareness and where what you are doing that really plays an important role in creating awareness.
Yes, and I think this is why this session here today, while I see a lot of comments, a lot of turnout from the T1 community, and of course our T2 friends as well. What really I think Ranjit and his family and all of us here need to do is to be able to share this video or share this information with people that are non-diabetics, because it's really that sort of demographic that is going to face trouble. We already are diagnosed, somebody in our family, we've gone through some situation, we are aware, and this kind of knowing about Rushil uh, shocks us, it saddens us, but all the more I think it's important to put this out there, to share it with anyone who has young kids, or actually anyone, because we do know that because it's an autoimmune condition, it can occur with anyone. But please do share the symptoms of diabetes in whatever way, in whatever language format, whether it's this video or through any other medium. The word should get out. And I also just I also just remembered to mention here to our audience, especially the non-diabetics, that India is actually in the latest IDF Atlas. India is the world leader in type 1 diabetes for people that are 20 years and below. सो हम लोग हमेशा बोलते हैं कि टाइप 2 डायबिटीज बहुत ज़्यादा कॉमन है, and it's true, type 2 is really the chunk of diabetics are type 2, but we also have massive numbers for type 1. So what we see now is only going to increase. There are going to be a lot more children in the coming days and weeks and years that are hopefully going to get the right diagnosis. And when it happens, we want their parents, and we want their teachers, and we want their colleagues and friends, and school mein aya, everyone, family members, relatives, aji ajoba, whoever, we want everyone to know that these are the symptoms of type 1 diabetes, and if you notice it, please flag it. I also want to quickly mention, Ranjit, I was telling Ranjit this yesterday, that since a couple of years now, we've been doing a lot of school awareness programs, also awareness programs in different places, whether it's offices or colleges. We even at Yerwada jail in Pune, for the prisoners, we also conducted an awareness program. So as part of all of those, of late, after knowing about Rushil particularly, a lot of us feel very strongly about creating more awareness. And I really want to take this opportunity also to sort of really appreciate Savita from Pune, who's been reaching out to so many schools, and a lot of other parents, honestly, from all over India. We've had parents from Rajasthan, from Delhi, from Cochin reach out to us and say, what can I do, how can I reach out to my school. So I think we should keep this momentum going. Please do reach out to your schools, speak to your principals, speak to the teachers, tell them that you're associated with Blue Circle, and we want to conduct a diabetes awareness program in the school. We do multiple things. We do awareness program for students. We do teacher trainings. So any sort of setting, any language. In the last week, we've had around 4 or 5 awareness programs in Pune, in schools, and we've done these in Marathi medium schools. We've done these in government schools. So whatever be the setting, our job is to go there and create awareness. And along with all your help, it's not something that anyone can do alone. So all of us together, if we pitch in and if we reach out to schools, especially as parents, I think parents are really powerful in the way that anything for the child, right? We, like, every single parent is like that, and they're going to do anything in their power and in their capacity to make sure that not only their child but even others are safe. And that's also what Ranjit is doing today with us here in this program. So please reach out to your school. If you go to our Facebook group, that is Diabetes Support Network India, जो नीचे ब्लू कलर का टिकर आपको स्क्रीन पे दिख रहा है, उस पे ग्रुप का नाम है, आप ग्रुप पे जाएं। और ग्रुप में फीचर्ड पोस्ट सेक्शन है, जो पोस्ट ऊपर पिन्ड सेक्शन में है, वो सेक्शन में आप जा करके लेटर फॉर्मेट डाउनलोड कर सकते हैं। यू कैन गो टू द featured post section of our Facebook group, download the letter format, use whatever language you require, but the format is provided. So if you need any help, copy paste that letter, put it onto an email, CC us. We'll also put in our email ID there, and we'll take it forward with the school, because this needs to be told to everyone. अगर स्कूल में कोई देख लेता, अगर टीचर देख ले, या अगर स्कूल का कोई सपोर्ट स्टाफ देख ले. We actually told a school 2 days ago about Rushil, and we said that a child from Pune, just like the kids who come to your school, the child lost his life because nobody was able to pick up the signs. I mean, of course, we are non-medicos, but as a general public, if you as teachers know these symptoms, you can always flag it to the parents and tell them to see a doctor. So somewhere we can quickly catch and diagnose somebody quickly. I'm also going to quickly scan through the comments. I see Chandan, who says, extremely sorry for your loss, and God give you more strength to share this with many more. My 7-year-old son was diagnosed with T1D in October 2022, and my doctor predicted that it might be post-COVID symptoms. Then he did a test for antibodies, which showed positive results. So yes, Chandan, we've seen a lot of children and adults during these last 3 years in COVID get diagnosed. Actually, we feel like the rise has been really exponential. He says that we are still not able to accept that our child is diagnosed with T1. Sometimes his simple questions we are not able to answer. I'm also reading out Anshita's comment, and she says that my son Advait is 5, and he was in severe DKA when we rushed him to the hospital. There, the emergency doctor diagnosed it just at the right time and saved his life. He was urinating, he was drinking a lot of water, he was vomiting a lot, and the pediatrician thought he has a stomach infection, and then asked him to give some kind of glucose or juice or ORS, and basically everything that is pure sugar. And it's really really unfortunate that not one, not two, hundreds of people have had this experience where they've gone to a hospital and they've been also put on glucose sometimes. So that's really really scary and sad to know. Rohan says finding the correct doctor at the time is so critical, and many are not lucky. I'm just going to pause here for a moment and let Ranjit sort of react and reply to these comments.
Yeah, I mean, I after Rushil's diagnosis, I tried searching across so many social media platforms, whether it's LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. So there are so many parents whose children are having type 1, and probably I've seen in most of the cases the diagnosis was wrong, but they were lucky, as someone has rightly put a comment, that finding the correct doctor is very important. And I would like to add that awareness is the first step of empowerment when it comes to taking care of children with type 1 diabetes or the entire T1 community. So, awareness is the first step in the empowerment. So, that I would like to add here.
Yes. Also, reading out the other comments that are coming in, Ashlesha says, thank you so much for coming forward and sharing your experience so that others can learn, and we wish more strength to your family. Then Shinjini says that it is not easy as a parent at any point in time to accept that something like this can happen to their own child. And it takes a lot of courage to talk and to share. Kudos to you and your wife, and God bless you. Yes,
Yeah,
I mean, yeah,
yeah. Probably on the 18th of this month, it will be 3 years. So, I mean, these 3 years have passed, and I mean, the only thing I can do is like to play my part in the awareness, whether it's through you or maybe all the people who are trying to create awareness. And it is lacking, I mean, severely lacking in India. I mean, everybody has to do their part, and so I'm doing my part.
yes. So, my next question was actually around the same thing about awareness, and what would you think, Ranjit, is an ideal situation? What would be that point where it would be like, okay, now we have reached the perfect level of awareness, with regards to type 1 diabetes diagnosis?
Yeah, so I begin with the schools. Every school at is in every classroom, even at the entrance, should have this probably boards indicating symptoms of type 1, and they should have a focal point mentioned with the number. If someone is having, I mean, if few students might be having type 1, so they should clearly have the numbers, and they should have dedicated resources who will monitor those students who are type 1, and they'll keep regular check on their day-to-day activities, because I know that for a T1 child, it's really difficult to be in the school. Probably he's injecting himself with insulin, or maybe having that CGM and other aspects,
Yeah,
other things. But like imagine for a 5-year-old or a 6-year-old, I mean, he doesn't know why he is having type 1 and why he has to put that insulin inside his body.
yeah,
So it's for elders and the teachers to support them. So the ideal situation, as I said, it will shall begin with schools. Same is applicable to daycares. And the horrible part, I am really sorry to use the word horrible. Many of the doctors, probably pediatricians,
yeah,
they should start to think, if like if somebody visits them with those, maybe any of the 40s, whether it's thirst or urination, a simple test will give them the numbers, and that can save so many lives. And
yeah,
I mean, I know that for there are so many people with type 1 who were diagnosed long back, and I know few people who are like 85 years old. So for a T1, it's not like your life changes. With proper medication, proper monitoring, you can lead a healthy and normal life, just like a normal human being.
yes.
So schools is the first thing, then the daycares, and yeah, the doctors and parents as well. Yeah.
Yes. There's something you told me a few days ago, and that really kind of stayed with me. You said that if when I see all the people that have type 1 diabetes, and whether they are advocating about it, or they are just basically living their life healthy and happy, and I feel that my Rushil could have also been having a completely normal life only if he had the right diagnosis. And this is really a reminder to everybody who's watching us today. Please, when you go back, talk to people around you. If you're a parent, if you have kids in school, speak to other parents, share this video with them, or tell them at least these are the basic 4 5 symptoms. Talk to people. It's our job, because clearly the system is not built to support people. That's just the reality, and that's the unfortunate truth. The system is not there to protect us. We are here to protect each other, and I think it's our job. It's not like, okay, maybe I can't, or maybe let me be out of this, let me stay out of this. No, it is our business, to educate everyone about what this is. And literally, I mean, when we step out of the door, we have hundreds of opportunities in the day. I was in the metro station a couple of days ago, and the security person asked me, "आपके पर्स में क्या bottle है?" So I was a bit confused because I didn't even carry a pani ka bottle, but he actually meant insulin vial. And I took that opportunity. It might have been irritating for the security person because he has to deal with thousands of people, but I took that chance to say, ये insulin है, मुझे diabetes है, type 1 diabetes. you know he had to actually tell me, "अब अभी आप जाओ." And so we have so many opportunities in our daily life, and it's a request to everyone to please use those. And I know that all of us here do. But to avoid such kind of a heartbreaking situation in the future, um, we it's our job to create awareness. I'm going to quickly read out a few more questions, and then request Ranjit to sort of listing them. Rohan says, "Sir, when was the first interaction with the doctor, and what was told?" Is that something you want to get into, or we can?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Because see, it's a clear case of misdiagnosis. So, okay, so I probably have a brief. conversation about this because I don't want to blame anyone. The worst part was the lockdown time period
Yeah.
where this decay occurred in Rushil. So I cannot blame anyone, even if it's a misdiagnosis. So that was like unfortunate thing that we had to face. So the first interaction when we saw all those symptoms and he appeared thinner. Even my parents, I mean, they were staying at our hometown and we used to have video calls, and they also noticed that that Rushil is appearing thinner than usual, and there must be something wrong because they have seen so many things, and they probably could correlate it to not type 1, but something might be wrong. Why a child is suddenly appearing thinner? So we, yeah, and as I said earlier, because of the lockdown, we were not in a mood to take him to the hospital and make him travel with us, and so that's why we were trying to find out the doctors who were available online for online consultation. And it was very common during the pandemic time, like it was probably the first phase of pandemic. It was August 2020. So
Yeah.
we tried finding, but most of the slots were already booked and few doctors were not available. Then we probably got the appointment on 16th August, and it was online consultation. And he was our regular, probably the pediatrician where we had taken to whom we have taken Rushil most of the times. Maybe it's his vaccination or some minor fever or something like that when we were staying in Kharadi part of which is Pune. So we told him all the symptoms, and he probably correlated those to rainy season. And since after googling those symptoms, we could correlate it to type 1. We asked him whether we should go for some sugar test or something similar. So his opinion was the probably yes, he failed to recognize. He was like, no, you don't have to go for, but if you are interested, you can do it. But I don't think so. So as a for someone who is not from medical background, so we like will try to believe in what the person from medical background is saying.
Yeah.
So if he's saying it's not required, so but still we even the labs were not every medical facility including labs were heavily loaded because of the pandemic. So
Yeah.
we told him the symptoms, and we were about to have his urine samples on Tuesday. uh, Probably it was 18th morning. But the that fateful it was on the 17th. He was having his exam, online exam. He wrote his exam, and we are just laughing because me and Rushil were the only one who were during the daytime at home because my wife had to go to office since she happens to work with Maharashtra government. So probably on that it was 17th Monday, 17th August, yeah, if I'm not wrong. And it was he appeared, I mean, he was always energetic, though he was having such symptoms, and but his that dynamics was always there, even though
Yeah.
he was having all those symptoms. But he was quiet suddenly, and we were also shocked.
Yeah.
And he had just dal khichdi, and next day he was supposed to appear for English examination, and he said, "I don't want to study," and we said, "Okay, don't study." And probably around 10 or 10:30, he start that breathing started.
Yeah.
Probably I don't know the exact word, but it is called as kusum, some breathing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes. Kusumbal breathing. Yes, that's
yeah.
right.
So we were trying to talk to him. What is wrong with you? And he was not able to say anything, and we were bit scared. But because of the pandemic time, our main concern was he was not having any fever, he was not having cough or something like that. So maybe he is having something which is not that serious, and next day probably we'll take him to the doctor. So this
Yeah.
started around probably 10:30 or 11, but it really increased a lot. And his mouth was completely dry from inside. And
Yeah.
then we got really scared. And I took the video. I was trying to search for hospitals or doctors who were available, but nobody was available. We did send that video to our pediatrician, and he happened to see it at around, because it was too late. I sent it around like it was two, yeah, probably 1 or 2 at, and he saw it in the 5 a. Sorry, in the morning, early morning 5 a.m. So he called me back that you admit him to the hospital immediately, and he called somebody in that hospital, well-known hospital in Karadi, and probably his friend or batchmate was there, and we took him to the hospital, and that's how it happened. Uh,
Ranjit,
my,
would you like
yeah.
me to share the reports? I have it handy. Or
Yeah, you can share. I mean, it's. I mean, I cannot interpret the result as such. Probably his ketones and sugar levels were also very high. Probably that portable meter, glucose meter, there which the hospital used, it was not able to detect his sugar level. But it's probably H1B1AC around. I can't recollect the exact number. Probably it was 15 or 14 something.
got it.
That H1B1AC. Yeah.
Got it.
And probably even that the people at the hospital, they were also not familiar with probably the course of treatment required for type 1 patients, because everybody was busy taking care of COVID patients. And since some of the parents might think whether Rushil was having COVID, he was not having COVID, because we were given his body when we got the results for COVID test. So he was perfectly normal. So my only grief, or the saddest part of that particular event is that he had to suffer from 3 cardiac arrest, and that is beyond imagination for me. I mean, I cannot even imagine the pain that he has to bear when he suffered from 3 cardiac arrest. And sometimes it really hurts me that why couldn't I take him to the hospital probably around night itself, or much earlier than the morning. But yeah, that will stay with me forever, that the pain he has to go through. And after all, it comes to probably destiny, or what God has written, we cannot avoid. But yeah, awareness is not something that it's in our hands, so we have to stay alert. So that's how it um, the things happen in the hospital. And the worst part for me is like the doctor came out, and he was very blunt in telling me he's not responding. We are trying our best. His ECG lines are flat, and he was telling me upfront. I mean, I was not prepared to hear all such words, because they called someone from some pediatric endocrinologist as well from some hospital.
Yeah.
So she also had a conversation with me and my wife that if he is able to make through till evening, he'll be perfectly all right. And she clearly told that it happens in all the cities that during rainy season, such incidents are misdiagnosed. And the doctor with whom we had consultation, he also visited us in the hospital. And the worst part is, he told us that he never thought that this could be the something related to type 1, or so that was really bothering me. And but yeah, we have accepted it, and that is how it took place, the medical consultation, and how things ended up.
Yeah, I I just don't have any words. Even though you have told me this before, it really makes me speechless. And I see Arpita's message as well. She says 14.73 was the HbA1c. Arpita and Ranjit, I am so sorry. I think when we started out, I didn't explicitly get the opportunity to say that I'm so sorry that this happened with you. This is absolutely unacceptable. It is not okay for something like that to happen. It's a failure at so many levels by so many checks and balances that are supposed to be in place. And this is a child. It's an 8-year-old boy that we are talking about. And what Ranjit said, completely unexpected. Did not even imagine that the ECG lines will be flat, or what is this doctor really saying? What is the meaning of this? We came in thinking must be something small, and at the end of it, what really is it turning out to be?
Yeah, I mean, when that specialist, that pediatric endocrinologist told us that if he is able to make it through probably till evening, he'll be fine. So we were like, okay, we'll doing our part, like praying to God, reading so many things that just so as to, uh, wishing for the best for him and asking for him to get well very soon. But probably it was 3 or 3:30. I saw one of the doctor taking within that machine, which they gave electric shocks, and also one probably I think it's a failure on my see as a though I searched for those symptoms. I don't know why I could not correlate, or maybe I could not see medical help earlier, but probably that hospital also somehow failed, which I think I'm not blaming them, because the type 1 awareness is really a uh, I mean, it's not there at all, even in the hospitals. Probably now everybody is aware, and with so many people creating awareness, so it's there. So when they went with that, they tried to give electric shocks, and I was really shocked. Like, I mean, whether he's all right. And another, I would like to like stop with the last part, about this diagnosis. That in India, we don't parents are not allowed to go in the emergency. Probably, I don't know the case with other hospital, but the hospital that we took Rushil had like they were like parents get scared, and we don't allow parents to sit next to the child. And I don't know the exact medical, some they had to inject Rushil somewhere, I don't know. Probably Arpita, if she's online, because we are not from medical background, so they had to inject somewhere, and they had to take my signature on the form.
Oh,
So I don't know. So probably in the chair, I don't know whether it was direct injection to heart, or I don't know the exact medical terminology associated with it. But
yeah,
they took my signature for that. So yeah, that's how things. I mean, it was really bad for me to see him with flat ECG line, and I wasn't. No parent would be prepared for anything like this, and I couldn't say a word. And our concern was to take him body to take his body to our hometown. And it's really, I mean, the worst part was to see him in a gunny bag. So that's the horrible thing for any parent. I mean, I'm not trying to, create emotional scene or something, but that's how it happened. And I'm trying to tell you the truth.
yeah.
And yeah, that's it.
No, and you've been, I mean, we are really, I can see the comments. It's so many people. Nandita says she's a type 1 for 25 years and she's mother of an 8-year-old. And she says, my heart really goes out to you. I've had a near death experience due to misdiagnosis. Arpita says the central vein injection
Yeah,
was.
correct. Yeah, that was the yeah which I was talking about. They took our signature for that. I mean, they are not authorized directly. So I don't know what that medical term is. Probably if somebody from medical background, if they can easily correlate to that, but I don't know what that is. And so probably they were not able to find the veins or something. That's why they had to do it.
Yeah, and what you said earlier, Ranjit, about the fact that because we are not medical people, and somebody in our child or our family member, we obviously trust the doctor because we
Right.
believe in science, we believe in evidence, we are rational citizens and normal human beings, and proper citizens of this country. We don't fall for let me take to some alternative cure, or let me figure out. You did everything by the book. I mean, literally, you as much as said, can it be this? Can it be type 1 diabetes? I mean, what else is a parent supposed to do? It really angers me and saddens me that this is, what is happening. And I know it's really because of my parents also that I am alive today. Because, like a lot of you watching this, I didn't get the right diagnosis as well. And it really brings us back to the point that we have to do something on an ongoing basis. It's not just today we feel pained, we feel hurt. So many of you have shared that, and it's not just that aaj or kal mein hum kuch karenge. This has to continue. We cannot let this down, because clearly who's there to support us, right? It's us, it's just us. We have to tell other people what the symptoms of type 1 diabetes are. Despite being educated, and if we're not able to understand, it's so difficult for parents. So this is the only way to take it forward, that talk about it openly and not worry about being stigmatized.
Right.
I want to quickly ask the audience if there are any questions, because we are almost at the end of the session, last 2 3 minutes to go. If there is anything that you would like to share or ask, or basically just put in a comment, please do it now. I just want to thank uh, you, Ranjit, today for doing this, and Arpita. We are really not just grateful, but all of us here are your family. I mean, Rushil is not here today, but I don't think that stops us from, all of us having that sort of connection. And you're always welcome to join our meetups, and continue sort of being part.
Yeah.
One last sort of closing question that I wanted to ask you: how are Arpita and you managing? It's been 3 years.
Right.
It probably it's never going to get easy. That is the fact, right?
Yeah.
You're always going to feel that guilt, even though you know it's not your fault, and how much ever anyone tells you don't worry, it's not but of course so how have the 3 years been, and how are you guys coping up?
Yeah, I'll be very honest with the answer. I mean, for any parent, I mean, he was our only son. So, I mean, we took him to our hometown and we did all the rituals. And when we came back, so we did not stay in the same apartment. We moved to altogether to a different area because his friends were there and there were so many memories. So the first step that we did was we moved to some other area in Pune. And for me, it was work from home. And but for my wife, for Arpita, it was since she's a government employee with Sasun Hospital, so she had to go to hospital. So for me, it was really a difficult time because I used to share so many things about him. So in 2021 was really difficult for me. Then my office was in Navi Mumbai. Then I also went alone to Mumbai. On weekdays I was there, and on weekends I used to. So staying alone, and then I came to realize the fact that he's not coming back. Probably I can contribute to awareness, probably which I'm doing right now. And I mean, it's yeah. I cried a lot. I'm very honest. I cried a lot. Like I could not sleep like till 3 or 4. I was just looking at his pictures and so many memories on Facebook. But now, as see, it was probably lifespan written by God, and I mean, whoever is there on earth, I mean, the birth and the death cycle is there. So we are in the world where we will die someday. Probably this is what was written for Rushil. So we accepted the fact. But yes, it's really a painful journey. But I mean, we will never be able to accept that because of a small mistake, which could have been prevented. And it's nothing like it was like some complicated thing, or maybe something happening in the world for the first time, probably like COVID. So type 1 was well known to the medical community, whether it's Pune or maybe other city. So the grief is that I could not take him to the hospital. Probably that will always be the question why and I ask for forgiveness every day to him that you have to go through this pain and everything. But yeah, we have accepted the fact, and we are now also have moved to another city. We are in Bangalore right now. So, but yeah, memories no part. I mean, even if you go to outer space, memories will also always be there. So, but we have accepted the fact. Yeah, and that's how. the life goes on.
Yeah. And the very fact that, this is your child, you loved him, you still love him, whether he is there with you or not. I mean, like I said earlier, we've all experienced loss in different degrees, and we are highly grateful to you for your kindness and for your time, Arpita and you both, for being here today. I see a bunch of questions and comments, and we can carry those forward in our Facebook group, which is Diabetes Support Network India. So, Chandan, I know you have a couple of questions. Feel free to ask on the group. So, we're wrapping up this session today. Thank you very much, Ranjit. And we're all always going to remember Rushil for the beautiful, bright, lovely child that he was. And we don't want anyone else, like Ranjit said, Arpita and him don't want anyone to go through the grief that they have gone through. I think it's our responsibility. If even if the system is broken, even if it's a failure, we are not going to let any more children down. We are not going to let, it's our job to spread awareness, and that is something we are going to go all out and do. And we request for all your support in speaking to your schools, speak to your housing societies. We should have more work and less volunteers. That is how it should end up being. So have a pleasant evening, the rest of the evening, everyone. And thank you, Ranji. Thank you, Arpita. God bless you guys, and we'll be in touch on the group.
Yeah, and I would also like to conclude by saying like what you are as a type 1 and having diagnosed at the same age as that of Rushil, and you are creating awareness. So many thanks to you and people who are creating awareness. And I request everyone who have joined in to spread the word. Life can be easy with type 1. You just need to stay alert and know the symptoms. So many thanks.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.